All right, here are solutions to quiz 1 for Math 243. Let's see. So what's going on in this problem is I give you this hypothetical scenario. So this summer I went to 25 randomly selected private schools in the Pacific Northwest, and I asked 200 children, they were aged 5 to 10, what their favorite sport was. And here is a summary of the results. So what you're asked to do is basically prove that you understand a whole bunch of vocabulary words. So the first question here asks what the sample in the study is. And so the sample in any study is kind of the smaller group, you can think about it, the group that you actually collect data from. So in this case, that's these 200 children. So maybe I'll write, I don't know, I'll be a little bit brief, the 200 children, maybe even parenthetically, aged 5 to 10, um, from the 25 private schools, Pacific Northwest private schools. Fine. Those kids is what you're getting at here. That's the sample. The population is the larger group that you want to ask questions about, but it's too big for you to ask questions about. So it's the group that this sample is representative of. So instead of just these 200 children, perhaps a population that would make sense would be all children aged 5 to 10. That go to what, private schools? Is that what I said here? Private schools in the Pacific Northwest. Sample population. It's important to note that this sample is representative of this population, that later on when we talk about our research objective and our inferential statistics, we're talking about this population right here. And when we talk about the data that we collect and summarizing that data, that comes from this sample right here. So first two questions, sample population. Next two, we're getting into our four-step process of statistics. It says, what might have been my research objective? And to be specific, talking about whether you're referencing the sample or the population. So what I was talking about is that the research objective should always reference the population. So it's the question that you're studying, but it has to be about your population. So I don't know what the favorite sport is. Among maybe the children in my population, what the favorite sport is among the children in the above population. I could write what the population is again right here, but since I already wrote it up in part B, I don't need to copy it again. I'll just kind of reference it down here. Is my data quantitative or qualitative? Well, quantitative data is data that's numeric, where the mean is meaningful. So not just numbers, but numbers where if you average them, that average kind of makes sense. So not all numbers, so like zip codes, for example, would not be quantitative. But generally speaking, numbers are quantitative and categories or qualities are qualitative. So up here, my data, what each student told me was a sport. One student told me track, someone else told me swimming, soccer, gymnastics, and so on. So these sports are not numbers, these would be qualitative. Is my data quantitative or qualitative? It is qualitative. Why? Because each sport represents a category. And maybe, again, parenthetically, I'll say not numeric data with a meaningful average, something like that. Give an example of both types of data. So we already have an example of, so what I told you when you took this test is whatever your answer is your example of one type of data. And then the other type of data, so I already have qualitative, it's this question. And then maybe in a different color here, an example of quantitative data would be, I don't know, height, sure. So maybe the height of the same population, who knows, would be height, maybe measured in inches, sure. That's one perfectly good example. Of course, your answers will vary for this second part here, but something that is numeric with a meaningful average. Did I do any descriptive statistics? Hell yeah, I did. Descriptive statistics is your way of summarizing the data. So when I had raw data, what I had is 200 sports written down. I had a clipboard and it said tennis, tennis, track, tennis, gymnastics, swimming, gymnastics, soccer, soccer, swimming, soccer, representing each of those data points representing one of the children that I talked to. But then what I did is not provide all that raw data. I instead provided this pie chart. So this pie chart right here is my summary. And so that summary is the descriptive statistics. To answer the question, did I do any descriptive statistics? Yep. If so, what? The pie chart. I don't know, descriptive statistics are just summaries, are just a summary of the data. Sure, something like that. And then if not, what descriptive statistics could have been done? That's not relevant because the answer was not no, it was yes, so I can skip that part. All right, last one. What are inferential statistics? Inferential statistics is a fancy word for your conclusion. What are inferential statistics? The conclusion. The conclusion is the inferential statistics. Maybe I'll even write step 4 in our 4-step process of statistics. What would be reasonable inferential statistics for this study? So what you need to do with inferential statistics is you need to answer your research objective. So just like your research objective refers to your population, your inferential statistics should refer to your population. So a reasonable conclusion after looking at this is that, I don't know, soccer is the most preferred sport, right? 30% was higher than any of the others. So, I don't know, a possible conclusion is that soccer is the preferred sport. And then this next thing will be really important, is the preferred sport among this population. So inferential statistics, you'd be wrong if you said in my sample of 200 children, 30% of them like soccer, or the majority or the sport that had the most love among these 200 children was soccer. That's 100% true, but that's not your conclusion, right? That's what you learn from the data. But your conclusion is not about the data, it's not about the sample, it's about the population. So it's really important that you make this point that this is among this population. This quiz is kind of a weird quiz. Your answers will vary a little bit, but hopefully you kind of hit on the important parts of what I was talking about in this video to get credit on each of these. I guess I'll end this video here.